So everybody knows about how things are going for Steph, and this is KD goes down. They actually won Game 5 when KD was out, but some of the Steph slander was continuing, and it's like this guy. I mean, I feel for him. Like he is great, but he does get crapped on quite a bit, and maybe because he's tiny or whatever compared to other players, and he's always positive. I mean, it doesn't look very positive here, but you know what I'm saying. So we're going to go into Game 6 against the Rockets, and I like to call this, a tale of two halves. We basically saw the full breadth of what the Steph Curry experience can look like, and what separates him from the good to great shooters of all time that escalate him into the tier of the greatest of all time. Because he certainly possesses, the number one thing that separates, the winners from the losers is that championship mentality. When things aren't going well, do you have the fortitude, whether that's, the mental fortitude or the testicular fortitude or whatever you want to call it? Like, do you have what it takes to dig down deep and keep firing when things aren't going well? Well, you can't do that without the sample size. So that number one is incredibly important. But let's take a look at Steph in the first half. This is a direct quote. "I was pretty terrible. I just didn't make a shot." He took 5 shots. He was in foul trouble. Pretty easy math here. 0 made shots, 0 points, 0% field goal percentage. And, the Steph slanders, it's there. It's real. And this is before we found out that he had an injury on his hand. So we didn't find that out until after the game. But regardless, sometimes you're going to show up to a game. You're going to show up to a slate. I did this all weekend. I had leverage that I wanted. I had all of the contests that I wanted. And I had this close to, it's just like the runs were there, but I didn't get enough home runs. And it's like, oh, that stings, because you look at what won and you see your path to victory and how easily it could have been achieved with just a couple different swings of the bat. And it can eat you up inside. But, we always need to be process over results. And I look back and I'm like, you know what? All things being equal, I would have done what I did 100 times out of 100 if given the opportunity again, because I know it works. And Steph isn't going to shy away from that shot. He's going to continue to shoot. So we take a look at the second half, and there it is. He went ballistic. He shot 9 of 15 for 60%, for not 3 points, for 33 points. 33 points in one half. I think he actually had 10 points in the third quarter. And so 23 points in one quarter. And that's how it's going to go in DFS. Most of the time you're going to look at your sample size week to week, and you could be having the worst week of your career, and it can change like that in one slate. It doesn't have to be one day. It can be one slate, can change everything. And I've got proof, and we're going to dig into that later in the video, but you just got to know, and this is why I harp on it so much. Play. Don't worry about trying to be too perfect or, dude, I'm only going to do 2 lineups. It's like, dude, if that's all time you have, like, that's great. But I can't coach you to be a better player, because that's not how I play. But for the people that are looking for a better way and love playing the volume, this is the only way I know, and it works. So that's why I get so fired up about it. Just shoot or shoot, man. Keep taking your shot. Keep taking your shot. Steph Curry continues to shoot because he knows that after every missing and losing are a good thing. And that's what separates an amateur from a professional. An amateur, when they lose, they think that they suck. They want to throw a pity party, and they want to wallow in, nobody feels bad for me. This sucks. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. If only this, if only that. If only that game didn't get suspended on Saturday, man. The Royals were crushing. It's like, dude, like, don't be a crybaby, man. Like, be a champion about this stuff. Like, every loss you're going to learn something from. I spend at least an hour a day analyzing my results. I'm putting in the work. I'm doing the homework. Steph's putting in the extra work in the gym. Prior to the series in Houston, nobody talks about this, but Steph actually rented out the arena so that they could get extra practice time in. So he's putting in the work to get better. And the reason he continues to shoot is with every miss that he makes is one shot closer to his next heater. And that's the exact same attitude that we need to have with DFS. Every losing slate dude, we're going to lose. I lose about 60% of the time in baseball, probably closer to 65% of the time. So every loss that I can get through without killing my bankroll gets me one step closer to my next hot run, my next heater. I might lose 10 slates in a row and then rip off, 6, 7, 8 winners for, 4, 5, 6, 7 times more than what I lost. And that's what we're doing. I showed you guys how to play to get those kind of wins. Now it's a matter of how do we continue to get better and how do we fire when things aren't going well. So Steph said, a night like tonight doesn't happen without belief in myself. Well, where do you get that belief? You get that from your sample size. Everybody asks me questions about, hey, what type of player am I? Or should I move up? And it's like, I don't know what type of player you are. The only indicator of what type of player you are is what does your sample size say? Should you move up? I don't know. What does your sample size say? Have you satisfied your goal? Did you set a goal of, hey, I'm going to play here until I get to here, and then I move up? Or, hey, you know what? It didn't go so well. Do I have enough discipline to drop down in stakes to recoup and take another shot back up once I've padded my bankroll properly? Or am I going to do some amateur stuff and start chasing my losses and blow my bankroll? Because if that's something that is resonating with you, again, I'm not trying to make you feel bad about yourself. I'm just trying to encourage you of, dude, I've done it 1,000 times. That's why I wasted almost half of my DraftKings entries before things really clicked. And now I have about a year to really pad my bankroll before I'm forced to move up. You guys can make so much more money than I did by having these good habits from the beginning. I got a little bit ahead, so we'll stop here and then we'll actually start diving into some of my data so you guys can see more of what I'm talking about and how Steph's shot chart relates to DFS results.